Well, here we are again at 7 p.m. Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern time, and it's time for Mission Log Live. And we're discussing Lower Decks, Season 2, Episode 5. Can you believe that? Episode 5, if you can see my hand, an embarrassment of Dooplers. And we're also going to be discussing all the things, or most of the things, that happened on Star Trek Day, which streamed last week in between John and Ashley and doing Mission Log Live, and then this week's show tonight. So before things get outrageous and O'Connor starts spinning freestyle, know what I'm saying? Everyone out there, give a warm Doopler welcome to my co-host for this evening, the lovely, the talented, and she's here, Ashley V. Robinson. What's up?
Don't embarrass me or I will duplicate, and there will be twice as much chaos as there normally is.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
I don't know. There's be too much energy in one room. And remember, sweet friends, that you want to line up your live calls with Earl. Don't embarrass him. But if we duplicated him, we could do like twice as many shows, and that would be super sick. He's standing by to let you into the Earl Grey room. That's almost a joke that works. Just click on the Zoom meeting link, use the one tap from your smartphone, or give us a ring at 669-900-6833. Someone online told me I said that number too fast. Then enter the meeting code and the password, and we will let you into all of this magique.
It's so funny that you say it too fast, because I say it too wrong most of the time, which I'm glad that you said it correctly, so that people can actually dial in. So let's take a look at the chat here. What I love about the Mission Log chat is that even before we start, we let people kind of like into the chat room here, and everyone's just firing on all. So it's like the chat's duplering itself, right?
I don't know. There's no effect for it. This feels appropriate to me.
So I think that if I wanted to basically like eliminate the chat, I'm just going to have to start berating the chat room. Like, you guys are terrible. What are you saying? I don't have to listen to any of you. But no, we don't want that. We want quite the opposite of that. So let's say hello to, who's first? Who gets the first bingo ball? That would be one of our Pauls. Paul Wright, what's up, man?
Hey, good job, Paul.
Wow, look at this. I should be hitting slot machines, because number 2, we have Paul Harvith. That's 2 Pauls.
2 Pauls for the price of 2 Pauls.
There we go. So Paul's duplered right there in the chat room. But more importantly, we have Elizabeth here coming in on third, just because like people like saying first. We have Scott. Let's see. Let's scroll down the line. John Arminio. I like saying that name because it sounds very sexy.
Kingly.
It is kingly. Michael. Let's see here. Alan Simmons. Bring your A game today, man. We need you. You know what I'm saying? Captain Mike Richards. What's going on, Mike? Matthew. And scrolling. Dominic, good to see you. Matt Esposito, what's up, man? Dave Taylor and Chris Riker. So many familiar names.
What is it like sharing a name with Spawn? That's pretty cool.
Oh, you're going deep comic. Huh?
Yeah, Spawn. That's my deep comic book cut for today.
So Image.
There is definitely a Spawn action figure on that shelf. I don't know if you can see it or not, but there is one.
I miss Spawn from back in the good old days of like 1990s, like, Wizard Comics and the birth of Image. We'll get to that later in a completely separate podcast of fun. Thanks, everyone, for joining us here in the chat. I just want to let you, Ashley, and let the chat know what's going to be coming up this week, because it's been busy. I almost kind of wish that John and I could kind of dupler ourselves, because there's so much going on with Mission Log Lives. Okay, so next week, we have you coming back for episode 6. We're already past that magical, or kind of, I don't know, not so magical, because we don't want it to end halfway point.
No, it's kind of sad. You're not wrong.
Right? So we'll have you back on that, which will be happy, not sad. But there may be a tear or two as we start closing in on the back half of the season. On this week's Mission Log that's dropping this Thursday, we're going to have Deep Space Nine's Once More Onto the Breach. It's the one where Core returns and is one of John Colicos's last screen performances. So please be sure to tune in to that. And just to let the Patreon subscribers know that we had to do some schedule shifting around. So we will be recording this week's show, The Siege of AR-558, on Wednesday night, and it will be released on Thursday morning along with the Thursday drop for the podcast. So we literally duplered ourselves for Thursday, which is a good thing. You're going to get 2 mission logs on Thursday if you are a Patreon subscriber. If you're not a Patreon subscriber and you would like to join us on the Discord there, make sure you visit patreon.com/missionlog, and then you'll be able to get all that, as John so eloquently puts it, expurgated content, which is a fancy Latin-y word for unedited, I think.
Yes.
And one other thing that I need to get, and this is a little bit of housekeeping, and John updated me right before we started the show. We'll be posting a listener survey on Facebook and Twitter, and it came from our ad buyers and Backbeat Media. They're surveying the shows that they represent, including 5 of them on the Roddenberry Podcast Network. And if you respond to this survey, you are eligible and entered to win one of several $50 Amazon gift cards. Remember, that isn't an instant win. If you respond, you are eligible to win, and you'll be entered based on your survey entry. So make sure, tell them what you think, tell them what you believe, tell them your truth about what you think about their advertising spots. That's what it's for. As a kind of pseudo former marketer, it's important for them to know these things so that they craft their media to you. One thing I wanted to bring up, Ashley, before I jump into the recap.
Yes.
Because I'm sorry that I take so much time talking about these things and not hearing your lovely voice. What is the one thing that you're looking forward to talking about regarding Star Trek Day in the back half of our show?
Oh my goodness. There were so many awesome things that came out. I think the thing that I'm most hyped for, and we did mention this a little bit before we started, is the Strange New World stuff. It's so exciting. I've been a fan of Anson Mount since Hell on Wheels Day, where he stars with another Star Trek alum, Colin Meaney. But I am so hype on his Pike, and we get like a little Pike Easter egg in this episode too. So that's probably the thing that I'm most excited to fangirl out about with you.
Yeah, I'm super excited to get to that in the back half of the show, because I know that there are a lot of fans that didn't get a chance to express their Star Trek Day enthusiasm in between shows. So we have a great opportunity to do that later on. But for now, let's kind of like jump into the recap and see where we are with this week's episode with an embarrassment of Dooplers. So let's Doople this. I'm rolling my eyes at my own copy.
I love it. I stand. I'm here for it.
Captain Freeman and the crew of the Cerritos. I'm sorry, I'm doing the hair thing. I'm doing the hair flip thing. I have to. It's obligatory right now.
Okay. I see. You're trying to get on the cover of a romance novel. I greenlight it.
Yeah, I'm looking for a free conditioner. Captain Freeman and the crew of the Cerritos are heading to Starbase 25 to attend one of Starfleet's finest galas, right after they drop off their highly unstable Doopler emissary. It's been tense on the ship because the Doopler rays can spontaneously replicate if they become emotionally unstable. But Captain Freeman and her officers have treated the emissary with the kiddest of kid gloves, and all is going according to plan for the captain. Watch this space. Meanwhile, in the cargo bay, Boimler and Mariner are enjoying an evening together, stacking crates to and fro, and passing the time with their usual banter. Boims admits to having a perfect clone of himself on the Titan, and faster than a Doople can subdivide, Mariner hatches a brilliant plan. To get into that elite Starfleet party, Boimler must pose as his Titan doppelganger and bring Mariner in as his +1. In the mess hall, Tendi and Rutherford are putting in some fine engineering work on Rutherford's scale model of the Cerritos. There are a few strange notes that he left for himself during a prior build, causing his engineering OCD to kick into overdrive. Speaking of overdrive, Captain Freeman accidentally insulted the Doopler emissary on the bridge, and this is where the real fun begins. The Doopler emissary became so emotionally distraught, he cloned himself again and again and unleashed an embarrassment of Dooplers all over the Cerritos. Finally arriving at Starbase 25, Becky's past in the form of a con alien named Malvis forces her and Boimler to smuggle a fistful of data, shampoos, across the station, along with an unbeknownst crate of Klingon disruptors. And in the typical Blues Brothers chase montage, i.e., through a series of glass-walled retail stores for the hilarity of smashing through buildings in the Starbase aviary, Boimler and Mariner manage to evade the fuzz, while barely ruffling a few avian feathers and raising only one Vulcan eyebrow in the process. Fascinating. They finally make it to the party, but only Boimler is allowed in, stranding Mariner behind at the local bar, wallowing in her own abandonment. Paging Dr. Miglimo. Back on the Cerritos, Tendi and Rutherford have their hands full of that gorgeous XXL edition of the Cerritos, complete with an integrated lighting kit, and trying to avoid being crushed to death by the tidal wave of Dooplers filling every nook and cranny of the station, including the bridge. Initializing a miniature warp core breach, the two intrepid model makers escape being crushed by an embarrassment of Dooplers and figure out that Rutherford isn't lesser than he was, but rather built in failsafes on the model so he and Tendi can always have something to problem solve together as only besties can. In the bar, Boimler reunites with Mariner and reconciles their differences. She's mad he left for the Titan, and he's sorry for the way he left. And to really cheer them up, the bartender tells them about another couple who also got kicked out from that party once upon a time and landed exactly where Boims and Becky sat at that very instant. Looking down at the counter, they bask in the awe of two carved names joined together as only besties can be: Kirk and Spock. The captain has had enough and yells at the emissary to grow up. And with that, the Doopler cloning process began to reverse their biological polarity. Who writes this stuff? Allowing the captain and her officers to finally make it to the party and get kicked out because they don't have the rank high enough on Starfleet's Hoity meter. Oh well, it's meat on sticks. It is. And in the end, the crew of the Cerritos reunites in that most reference-laden of pubs on Station 25, basking in the knowledge that it doesn't matter if they will ever be in the company of the Starfleet elite. What matters most is that they are all there for each other and their own number ones. But it's always nice to crash a party, even though it was the Doopler emissary whose epic level of discomfort caused him to tidal wave level duplicate and literally crash the party and the windows and the bar and the glasses and Okona. Outrageous. I know. The end. I really should be stopped from writing anything at all.
Hard disagree. I mute myself so I can giggle the whole time through. So I'm a fan.
Thank you. But it was a fun episode. Let's kick into some of your thoughts. How did you feel about this episode? Kind of like what stood out to you?
I start this. It's going really
and that wasn't
well.
even written. Yeah.
I know. So who's the professional here? It's Norman.
Hey-o.
I thought this episode started out, dare I say, kind of silly. And I know people are screaming into their cameras and their phones right now going, what did you expect? But it ends so sweet and so lovely. It wound up being one of my favorite episodes. I do think the Dooplers are super cute. I would buy a dozen tiny little Funko figures of them. Super, super fun. Like how people buy the little tiny green Martians from Toy Story.
Oh, totally.
You have to have an army of them. So I would like an army of Dooplers. Yeah. My favorite thing, I think, was the insult that your paw is weak, coming from our former guest, Mr. Shax himself.
Yeah.
Oh boy, all over the place today.
That's okay.
Crushing it. And then my favorite Easter egg, though, was, did you notice there was a lore amongst the datas?
I'm sure there was.
There was.
Yeah. Right. It's like a special, if you buy like one case, or like for every 13 cases, there may be kind of like an elite level shampoo bottle, the lore, variant.
It's like the chase figure.
It's the chase figure. It's exactly the chase figure. So I want to be completely honest with the listeners. I cut out an entire section that literally referenced Rutherford's ship as a XXX Eagle Moss model.
You're not wrong, though. I thought the idea that it was a model was so cool, and you and I have done merch quarter like every single episode together. So now, I think because of this episode, we're finally getting his Doritos. Finally. And it was so cute to see it exist in universe.
I know. And even the packaging, like the packaging of the Deep Space Nine that Tendi gave, that's very similar to the packaging that they're actually advertising for like the Cerritos and other upcoming ships. So I'm like, nice merchandise tie-in, if that isn't a coincidence, but I'm pretty sure it isn't. You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
I don't know.
it's if it is a coincidence, then it's truly magic, but it's way too smart. It's way too smart on a huge brand for it to not be.
Yeah. Let's see. You have some funny notes here. How about a few more before we jump into the first caller?
Oh my gosh. It's because I rewatch them and I just write everything that comes into my brain. I was taken aback by the fact that there was no teaser this week. We went right into the opening credits, which are some of my favorite Trek credits. Like legitimately, I think the score is amazing. Scants. We love scans. We got a Dabo joke. We got a Quarks joke. I am the diehard DS9 fan, so those went right to my heart. Oh yeah, and then Vulcans. Fascinating. Like I think the punchlines were so good in this episode. And I know that everyone's mileage may vary on the humor and the jokes, but I think because of the setting, it really, really worked this episode.
Yeah, my favorite things were like the small things, you know, and of course, like Lower Decks is probably most known for now how many references that you can pull out of either a background panel or a piece of dialogue. I mean, it literally is kind of like the Where's Waldo of Star Trek right now.
Oh yes, John's favorite thing.
Like seeing all the references. But here's the one thing I do love. I did love the fact that like right underneath the Doomsday Machine in the bar was Cochrane's Phoenix. I'm like, talk about like juxtaposing like two completely different universes, you know, and then you had like a Morn type, you know, he was completely like passed out in the back. It was just one of those things where, yeah, a bar on a starbase would have like memorabilia, like Hard Rock Cafe or deep cut comic book reference, Planet Krypton. You know what I'm saying?
Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I think we should roll in right into our first caller. He's a man that everyone knows has probably the greatest wit and memes that we've seen so far, at least today. Let's say hello to Alan. What's happening, Alan?
Oh my goodness, you flattered me, sir. You flattered me.
Then you misconstrued everything that I was saying. So.
All right.
I was gonna go full George Washington. He cannot tell a lie.
It is an honor to be with you again tonight, Norman and Ashley. It's so good.
The honor is mine.
Yes, I do have one small correction, and I don't want it's not anything that you could have anticipated. So
how dare you?
Don't Doopler. No, don't Doopler. Don't Doopler on me. But
he's gonna correct me and hurt my feelings.
It's a completely understandable problem that happens
they don't
all
like
the time.
Me. What am I gonna do? They don't like me.
He's saying it's okay. That's what you say when it's not okay.
It's Simonis.
Oh.
But if I could share a name with any,
I said his name wrong. What am I gonna do?
Why not Spawn? You know. I dig it, man. I would be thrilled to be associated with an undead.
I don't know, man. He gets the raw end of the stick in a lot of situations.
You know what? You don't want Spawn's complexion. I can guarantee you that. No.
I mean, unless it's the movie, because Michael J. White is a very, very handsome gentleman.
He's Michael J. Fox, if you ask me.
LOL.
He and Deadpool can share skin tips, but yeah.
You dig this episode?
Just overall. This episode was dope. It was
Doopler.
Doopler.
Yes.
I just kind of want to ditto your sentiments about a lot of what,
I knew it.
What you've already said. It's just sort of like a little. It started off silly, but it had that really nice emotional depth to it. It worked out really well, and I found that there was a really excellent sort of parallel between the Doopler situation and sort of the underlying tension, I suppose, that's been in the Mariner-Boimler relationship ever since he came back. It's like, everything's cool. you're abandoning me. Boom.
Yeah. There are definitely like
You know?
abandonment issues going on. I don't want to say that flippantly, but I think there is some, underlying resolution that needs to be kind of figured out. And maybe, now that's why I threw in the whole like paging Dr. Miglimu, because I don't know if we need a ship's counselor, or just maybe they just need to kind of figure it out. Like Tendi and Rutherford are figuring it out, right? Like Tendi is always saying like, no, Rutherford, the reason why that you need help is because this is what besties do. They're coming together. And Becky and Boymes, not so much yet.
Not Becky and Boymes. Becky with the good hair.
Wow.
What did you
That's
think of
their
those
ship
scants,
name for
dude?
sure.
What did you think of those long, like formal scants? That's all I got to say.
There's nothing wrong with a scant. I can't say that I've ever tried one, but I'm, why not? It's the 21st century now and the 24th century by the time this show comes around. So go for it. I say, let your legs fly free.
I'm demanding like the formal scans to be like at the next convention. I don't know how fast that needs to happen, but make it so. Or make it SEW.
Will you be wearing one? That's the real question.
If I could sew, I would. If I could actually do anything creative, like with my hands, aside from, shadow puppets, I totally would. I know a couple people that might be able to help me out. We have some great cosplayers in the Mission Log family. So, Alan, if you had to choose like your favorite either reference or moment for this episode, what would it be?
Well, it's been bandied about. I know I'm not the only one to draw this comparison, and it's not even to Star Trek. But how can you not watch the chase through the station and not think of the Blues Brothers?
Right.
Back in high school, I know this will probably shock people, but I was a band nerd.
Hey, me too. What did you play?
I played euphonium.
Oh, so you were one of the cool guys. Okay. I see.
That's a charitable description.
I was a flautist, so we were, everyone who sits in the front row, flautists, clarinetists, oboes, you are the boring people who pick the easy instruments. Everyone who's further to the back with the complicated instruments or the percussionists, those are the coolest people in the band. Don't let anybody tell you differently.
Well, certainly the ones paying the least attention.
The ones who can count, let's be real.
But yeah, I think there's sort of like a musical, and also growing up in the Chicago area, there's sort of like that music Chicago connection to that film that you just love. And I remember we took a band trip to Disney and Universal Studios, and literally my group of friends just followed the Blues Brothers stage show act all around Universal Studios, and just kept seeing their show the entire time. So right, I mean, just all they needed was like, the new Chevys are in this year,
and a couple orange whips.
Pier 1
orange whip, yep. 3 orange whips. Thank you, Alan. I just wanted to let you know. Thank you for calling so much. I wanted to because I have to kind of like move. I'm like reading so many different screens right now, which is why I'm kind of like a little flummoxed. I usually don't get flummoxed, but maybe it's because
it's all right.
We have so many callers.
It's okay, Norman. Don't worry about it. You're doing a good job. You're a very good host.
That's what they say.
Everything's good.
A good job. Anyway, Alan, thanks so much for calling in. I appreciate the show. Kicking you off the show. I'm kicking you off the show for wearing a Star Wars shirt on a Star Trek show. How dare you? I'm going to gatekeep you off of our call. So,
what is this, Alan. Twitter?
Oh my God. Okay, talk to you later because we got to get the next call coming in, and that is going to be one of our callers and friends of the show is an expert cosplayer. Maybe you can help me do the whole formal scant thing when the time comes. What's up, Chris? How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing good. I heard you were paging Dr. Miglimo. I had to rush over from dinner.
You did?
To get in
okay.
My one conceit is that most of the stuff that I do, my mother does. My mother really gets the credit here. Is it's crochet. So if you enjoy having a very heavy crochet scant, I'm your man. Yeah.
All right. Well, it depends because it's Chicago, so Chicago is going to be a little cooler that time of year
that's
in
right.
April.
Yeah, it could be kind of like a thermal. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Thinking one step ahead.
No, but thinking of what you were talking about, how sort of Boimler and Mariner are reconciling or not. I think tonight was kind of like the first step. Is they sort of had their sort of big, fight, have it out, and that sort of moment at the end of the bar where they carve their names and they have the whole sweet moment of them being number one. Is that sort of beginning to reconcile? And I think we're going to see in the back half of the season them sort of deal with it more. But yeah, I think they're on the road. I think Tendi and Rutherford obviously are better at this because I think that's just their jam, is just hanging out. But no, I think they're on the road. I think they're getting there. I have hope.
Yeah, I think so. I think you can't have two similar kind of like conciliatory stories going on at the same time, or else it's like flipping from one story of the same narrative to a story of the same narrative. I don't know, Ashley, do you think that's good that they're balancing it that way?
I do think it was good for the sake of this episode. I will say, based on the trajectory of the season so far, I sadly no longer think Tendi and Rutherford are going to kiss. Now I think Mariner and Boimler are going to kiss. That definitely feels like the pivot that we've taken this season.
If you want to see that happen, I mean, it's kind of like, are you doing this a la Skulder and Mully and Skulder?
I don't.
Scully and Mulder. No.
But I think it might. But I will also say that, like in the early seasons of Enterprise, they're definitely pushing a T'Pol Archer thing, and then they're like, "No, we don't want to do that," and we pivot later. So it's not my jam, but I've been surprised by stuff before, and I think it was nice after the last two episodes to kind of see the classic pairings together. We got to see Becky and Boims, which is now their shipper name, back together. And Rendy, I suppose, for Rutherford and Tendi. But overall, I thought as an A and a B story, I thought they worked in a very nice complementary way.
Yeah, I like seeing resolutions, obviously, because we didn't have Boimler for the first couple episodes. He was doing his thing, and I think that Mariner's jealous of where he could have gone. Right? I think that.
I think there's a couple things. I think there's, as we've talked about, the fact that Mariner has sort of cut herself off in the past from making friendships, and now she's like afraid of losing that. But I think also, going back to like season 1, is she sees like the ghost of Christmas future in Boimler, just as she saw it in her girlfriend, whose name I'm forgetting from that one episode. But I think like she
yeah. She was cool.
Yeah, I like her. But I think that's another. I think that's part of with him in a sense, but has chosen not to, which I guess goes back to the self-imposed isolation thing. But yes, she has many facets, Beckett Mariner.
Yeah, I think we're gonna maybe eventually see that episode. The origin story episode per se, when there's always an event that somebody endures, and they either have to leave or distance themselves from. And she said that she was, stationed on Deep Space Nine. She said that she's lived in all these different places. We're obviously seeing a little bit shady of a past, since, the people that they ran into on the starbase were kind of shady. A crime element on a starbase. Smuggling, contraband, shampoo and conditioner. I bet you Laura's a conditioner. That's what I need.
Yeah, for sure, because he's smooth.
How about this? L'Oreal.
Stop it.
TM. Put that on it.
That's going to be at the next Star Trek celebration.
Let's do that. One last thing, Chris. What was your favorite moment or reference or, piece of dialogue? Like something that everyone has one in a Lower Decks episode. Like, I know they have many, but there's one that kind of like rises to the top what would that be for you in this episode?
Let's see. I think if I was gonna pick a favorite joke, it's when they walk by Quarks and she says, "That used to be a lot where teens make mistakes." That's my favorite joke, and I think my favorite like actual dialogue moment is Rutherford's little speech at the end, where he's almost heartbroken that he cannot be who he used to be, and I think Eugene Cordero had a wonderful voice performance when he like snaps at 10. He's like, that's not who I am anymore. I think that's probably my favorite like moment. But also, teens making mistakes in lots is also very good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And you got to be forgiving and kind of like embrace your new self. You know, I think that there's that morals, meanings, or message of being able to reinvent yourself, because maybe the newer self is the you that you're supposed to be, as opposed to the you that you thought you were. And the thing is that Tendi has this great ability to kind of step back and forgive him if he's not forgiving himself. And that's what friends do, right? That's what Boimler and Mariner are doing for each other. Like, Mariner can't get past something, and I think Boimler can step back and say, like, sure, I was wrong, but I need to find like what is really eating at her. It's not just me. It can't just be me, right? Because I think that she was like this before me. So that kind of distance and perspective and being able to see it from a bird's eye view, it's a really interesting way that something as hyperkinetic as a cartoon like this can actually really focus on from a real world human emotional perspective, I think. I
think you just literally blew our minds that we're like, yeah,
have these moments. I have fumbled the ball like verbally like most of this episode. I need to come up with something good.
I think you and I are definitely in a contest for that. But I keep, as I listen to you and Chris sort of discuss Mariner in this episode, it reminds me of like when you're like mourn something that never was, like that person that you never dated, and you look back and you're like, oh man, I can't believe like we never dated. And I didn't think that Mariner was going to get a lot of growth, maybe ever in the course of the series. And it's kind of cool to see her, because I feel like in season 1, she was a little more stationary than the rest. So The real question is, who is the number 1 and who is the number 2?
Oh, that takes a lot of counseling for that.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of counseling for that. Again, you know what, Chris, you may have to put the Doctor cosplay on standby, because maybe next episode things may be coming to a head. You never know. Right?
Exactly. I know. I mean, he was there in the bar. Nicomo spotting. He was there.
He was.
Back.
Yeah.
He's always there. Right?
He's always watching. Yes.
Yeah. He's got his pad, constantly taking notes. But no, he was there in the back, chatting up Ensign Barnes. Good for you.
Which was
Good
nice.
for you, Nicomo. Yeah.
I thought that was cool. Because you saw that little tuft of green kind of like sticking out like in the background. I'm like, ooh. He is literally like taking notes on everybody at the bar, in vino veritas, as they say.
I bet he's a character model that the animators are like, this is too fun to waste. We got to put him in everything.
Oh, hey, by the way, Chris, you heard my warning, right? When we were on Sunday morning together. All right.
Yes.
I told Ashley about that. She got a great kick out of it because she knows that I'm
I had the privilege of seeing Ashley in the 3D space the other day.
Seriously, dude? You have that on speed dial?
Heck yes. I also fully, when I told Norman the story too, off air, but when I saw Chris without his consent, threw myself into his arms. I was so excited. And then we learned that we live really close together.
I know. So it's like we have to like go have beer sometime or something.
So many wounds. Oh my God. I don't know how to deal with this. I think I'm gonna have to get to our next caller. Well, so let's see. Like Alan, he made me Doople, and then Chris basically made me Doople again. So I don't know if there's enough room here for my giant ego and all of my giant ego Dooples. So get off my call. Thanks, Chris. Good seeing you, my friend.
Yeah, see you, man.
See you soon.
Enjoy. Okay, Paul, don't Doople me, man. Right.
Here you go, Norman. You need one of these.
Oh, I want it.
I don't have the skill to put that together. You put together Death Star destroyers, man.
Well, this thing is going to be on the list soon, but this is what the box actually looks like, and it shows you this is like from about 6 years ago. They've done it since, but I was amazed as a model builder how much fun this episode was. Yeah, having the lights, and Here's how big of a geek I am. When you look really close at, they say, oh, look, they got a little Mariner and Boimler in there. She is actually doing this with her hands in the model. So you have to do that kind of thing, right? If you're going to make a perfect model.
Were you thinking like polar lights when they were starting to like take that, like when Rutherford was starting to take the panels off? I was like, ooh, let's put a little polar lights lighting kit in there.
Actually, that kit looks exactly like the Eagle Moss kit of the D, the way it comes apart.
I wanted to get to that in my script, but I didn't feel like I wanted to go there too much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that's exactly what it looks like because it comes across in pieces. I mean, if it was a Polar Lights kit, you'd have to glue it, and it's just crazy. Now, wait a minute, I got to try this effect. You're starting to annoy me. There I am.
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
It's Doopler.
Oh my god! Well, it's either you're duplering or I'm turning into Seth Brundlefly. I don't know, like either the two. Right? That was fantastic.
It's prop night at the Harbath house.
So good.
Okay, so I don't want to stick on too long. I know you got some incredible callers coming, and you guys have been so emotional. But I got to bring up just two amazing people who showed up. Shelby, of course, with whatever the number one was.
Captain
Do we know
Shelby.
What was Captain Shelby's number one? What was that character? Do we know?
Number 2.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But for the old folks, we got to talk about Boothby.
Oh, for sure. Like that's what I thought. Is that like? Did you think that? Is that a thing? Was that Boothby?
Oh, absolutely. It's got to be Boothby. Well, okay. I'm not dead yet, right?
Yeah, right. I thought it was Boothby too.
I thought for sure it was Boothby, right? Who else would it be? Raking up stuff that of course, it's not Starfleet.
It's not Academy Boothby. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So maybe he got transferred. Who knows?
It was very Boothby-esque for sure.
Yeah, and Katana, what's her name? The Doctor has got the most incredible lines.
Oh,
we're the
Ta'ana.
What is it?
Ta'ana.
Ta'ana.
It's like a full glottal stop in between the two names.
When they wanted to know what got stuck where, that's number one. And the second one is where she just bitched out the Dooplers, right? Whatever she said was very effective. So high points for the Doctor. I think, when we have her, if we ever have her back on, maybe we can ask her what she would have said. I think that would be priceless.
I think we're going to have to pull the unedited, unexpurgated John Champion request for that edit and see what happens.
Yeah, you're going to need the I think that would be priceless to see what she would come up with, in actual words.
So I'm just wondering if they give her like a full script, right? She has to like just blow through a full script and then just edit her out, I think.
Upon a cursory Google search, the internet thinks that Shelby's number one is called OG Kelpian, and I know that's not their name, but that is all that Google will yield me in answer to Paul's question.
And have you mentioned of course, the biggest character of all, the outrageous Okona?
Oh yeah.
Okay, you did mention him. Okay.
Yeah, he was like Mr. Extraordinaire. He had his producer pad. I just wanted him to start. Yes, the fat beats. And we're not even like using the F. We're using the PHAT beats.
I think I'm too Caucasian to be able to say that with any authority.
Or Canadian.
Yeah, true.
Wait, she's American, okay, or American Canadian.
Yeah,
either one.
As many. I can't think of the word right now. Never mind.
But all we know is that yes, he was rolling some heavy thunder, in that disco parlor.
And the last point is this was so good. I've watched it 3 times. My wife and I watched it twice in a row. The ending was so amazing when they put in the initials into the desk. So hats off. Great episode all the way around. So enjoy your show, guys. Keep it up. I wish I was in California so I got to see Ashley live, but maybe someday. You never know.
Hopefully someday soon.
Oh, we don't get those calls. Only Chris gets those calls. We don't get those calls. I don't know why.
Chris is living the life, man.
It's a West Coast, East Coast thing, man.
The mission log rock star is what Chris is. So, all
right,
cheers, guys.
That's what happens when you wear Miggly Moo. All right.
And have some blood wine.
Ah, kapla.
Kapla.
All right.
Paul always has a sick drink.
I do believe, Ashley, we have a first-time caller. Please correct me if I'm wrong, and please tell me if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. Sherry or Sherry?
Honestly, either one is fine.
I got choices.
Uh, and then people get mad at me because I tell them that because they have flexibility. I don't understand. And then people get mad if you get mad if your name is pronounced wrong. So I don't understand.
That's what they say when they don't want to tell you what their name is. Oh. How are you? Welcome to the show.
Doing all right. Yeah, I was just thinking, as long as you don't call me Cherry, because I am not a fruit.
Do you get that a lot? That's unfortunate.
Sometimes, yes. Then I'm like, no,
I'm sorry.
There's two different pronunciations that are fine. I am fine with either. But that's one that no.
Do people sing the Four Seasons song to you?
I hate that one.
I'm pretty sure that's kind of old, right? Yeah.
Does everybody just go ma chérie when they're hitting on you?
I like that one, though. I would respond to that.
Take notes.
I'll poke my boyfriend over there.
Well,
he doesn't have to know.
We like the background that you got there. Obviously, you're a Lower Decks fan. So how did you feel about this episode?
I liked it. Although I did feel like, I don't know what, because I can't put my finger on it. And I don't like to be negative because I really do love this show. But I just felt like there was something missing. There was something not quite there. And also when I give critiques, I usually like to be able to say, it was this thing, this is what was bothering me. But I just can't, because on paper, everything about it is good.
Mm-hmm.
The Doopler thing is a little bit silly, and maybe that was what was kind of, I like the silliness of the show, so I don't know why that would have bothered me. Maybe it just wasn't meaty enough of a joke or something. I don't know.
Sometimes these things land differently, you could watch it again about a week or month or a year later. You'd be like, I don't know what was my problem with this episode. This episode was hilarious. But sometimes comedy is like that. It lands either immediately or it doesn't at all, or maybe later. I've read reviews online where people are some people are feeling the same thing. They're like, I just don't know what it is, but it just wasn't that Lower Decks, quality that I like from week to week. And like you said, it was all on paper, all on board, but it just... And
it was actually one of the few episodes that did make me completely chuckle. I don't usually have much of a reaction to a lot of things. Even if I find them funny, I'm just
She's a stoic viewer.
Yeah. The tiny little computer voice when it was going to self-destruct.
I love that.
I loved that. That was adorable.
Oh my God, it was hilarious. Right? I was like, what's going on here? I'm like,
warp core.
Yeah, miniature ship, obviously miniaturized voice.
Ejecting the warp core was next level hilarious, but also incredibly smart. That for me was such a perfect Venn diagram of when Lower Decks works, what elements about it work really well.
Right. Yeah. And I loved that part. That part was great. And I actually, I think since you mentioned the romance aspect, I actually don't think that they're going for a romance with Lower Decks, and I'm gonna fess up to you, Norman, that I am definitely not a first-time caller. I am lucky that Ashley is not sick of me by now.
No, I love you. Truly, please call ever. I think you've just only called when John's
I've only called when John's here.
Yeah.
And I really, really wanted to call for one of your episodes, Norman.
She's a first-time Norman call. So this is a very special moment where...
All right, I'm gonna put this down on my nose. I only called when John's here.
No,
he's gonna duple again. Watch out.
I missed the first episode, which you did.
And everyone misses the first episode.
And then the one that had the actor who played Shax, I thought about calling in, but I didn't want to clog up the airways because I'm but we want to give Shax all the talking because
Shax talks regardless of how many people are there.
Awesome, and I didn't want to and I also I made the mistake of starting dinner in the middle and being it'll only take me a few minutes, and I'm oh no, that it was it didn't work out that week.
My heart only breaks once a day.
That's why I called today, Norman. I was oh, Ashley's gonna be so sad because she's gonna have to see me again, but I really want to see Norman.
Oh, thank you. That's very sweet. I'm glad that we had a chance to finally talk. So when callers usually call in, unless they want to call in to John specifically or Ashley, not really, rarely me. I'm just kidding. Was there something specific about this episode? I always ask this question towards the end of a particular call. what was it about this episode that will stick with you? Was there something in the background, a line, a joke?
Like I was saying about the romance thing, I don't think they're going for a romance between Mariner and Boimler, since like I think they're actually going for the whole. Yeah, me too. I agree with you. I think this is a smart show, like you've said before, and I think they're smarter than that, and I really hope it's true. I think because they put their names next to Mariner, next to Kirk and Spock, that's the dynamic that they're setting up. Captain and number one, and that's the question I wanted to ask you two: is which one do you think is going to be the captain, and which one do you think is going to be the number one?
So the best leaders are always people who don't want to be leaders, right? Like a great literary example of that is Ned Stark should have been the king of Westeros, but he didn't want it, and I got his head chopped off. Spoiler alerts for Game of Thrones, I guess. Or even, I guess, I know. I just saw Hamilton, so I'm going to make also the historical parallel, right, to George Washington, who eventually did step down and ceded power when he could have stayed and let America forever. So I think with that in mind, Mariner should probably be the number one. Also, I don't want it to be another show led by a white guy, so I hope Mariner's the number one.
Oh, you mean Mariner's the captain?
Yes, that's what I mean. I'm sorry, because I was going number. Yes, Mariner should be the captain, and then I think Boimler should be the first officer. Because also, can you imagine him being in charge of anything? It would be hysterically bad.
he would be in charge of making sure that Mariner's okay. That's what he would be in charge of. But the thing is I don't know why my mind went there, and it may be different next time I watch it, but it just went because I had a conversation about Kirk and Spock being kind of like the first slash fiction ever, right? So I saw Kirk and Spock, and I was like, what are they alluding to here? Are they alluding to that, or are they alluding to like it's Kirk? It's not Kirk and Spock. It was Kirk plus Spock, right? So what do you use the addition symbol for? Are they together? Like, all you have to do is carve a heart around it, and it's basically a tree.
Well, if you look at the slash fic.
Well, true.
Yes, they are.
Right. So
big missed opportunity naming that ship. I can't believe people call it Spurk because the other one's right there.
But it's just one of those. I think that they're trying to establish just that these two will be together forever. In one way or another in their lives. They're inseparable now because that's how much they mean to each other. Like Kirk and Spock, those are like the building blocks, the DNA of Star Trek, not necessarily the characters, but how those characters represent that. It's so lucky to have one, maybe 2, 3 people in our lives that we can depend on with that kind of that certainty. And that's Kirk and Spock. And that will be Becky and Boims.
And in the great literary tradition of foils, they make a functioning human being when they're together. And I think B&B are much the same way on Lower Decks.
There you go. B&B. Make that a t-shirt.
I'd wear it.
Sherry, thanks so much for calling in when I was on the show. I do appreciate that.
Thank you.
No, it's very nice to meet you finally. Yeah, and don't be a stranger anytime you're on. I will definitely put you ahead of Mike, who's our next caller. So, you know. Okay.
Good to see you again, Ashley.
Au revoir, ma chérie.
Bye. Thanks for calling.
Thanks.
All right, so anchoring out. Let's see, I think we have maybe 1 or 2 more callers anchoring out the next call. We have Captain Mike. What's up, Captain Mike?
Not much, Norman. How are you, sir?
Yeah, doing all right. So you don't have like access to the next flight out anytime soon to go to fly to LA to see Ashley, do you? Because I'm pretty much exhausted with all of that attention that she's getting that's not from me directly.
I would love to. In fact, if I could, arrange a meetup, we would. I'd be out there tonight or tomorrow morning, catch an all-nighter. It'd be fun. Love to get out there and hang around with you guys. I noticed you mentioned maybe a get together at a diner at some point.
Maybe Cantor's. We may make that happen like later on Fairfax.
But
you know what I'm talking about. And Ashley knows what I'm talking about. She knows Cantor's.
I do.
But a couple of things for you. Norman.
Yes,
get it together, man. Stop being such a wuss. You gotta sack up. This is ridiculous.
Wait a second.
Not sack up.
I need to be more assertive. And now
I was going to try to get on here and yell at you to get you to undoopler. aren't Doopler eyes, but I can't even do it with a straight face.
Dude,
So I apologize.
Sack up is so bro. You just broed yourself out right there.
Doopler, I'm so sorry. That's what I get for trying to ad lib.
That's so funny.
But now I need to owe you a compliment. You said you don't have skills. I saw what you did with that flip phone. That is that is mad skills.
So I'm going to bring it out here on the video feed here. So if you can see that, can you see that? Is it facing?
Hold it back a little bit more. And
yeah, you kind of look like you're suffering from strange energies. I'm not going to lie.
I am. All right. So this is just a regular old flip phone. Everyone knows what it does. Opens up. But I use it very sparingly. But hey, why not make a flip phone into something that we've always wanted, like totally, like, always, forever and a day since it was first created. So I painted the cover gold, and now I have something that's cool to hang on my desk. So yeah.
And I think Becky and Boyms is starting to grab a little bit of traction. I got to be honest, Ashley. I like Beckward as my shipping name for him.
Backward. I like that.
That's cute.
Because he's a Bradward, right? You have Bradleys and Bradwards. He's a Bradward.
Cute names for people I don't want to kiss.
But the only thing, and I'll be real quick tonight, the only thing I wanted to say is that on Friday, my daughter just left for college last week, and we would watch Lower Decks together. And I texted her on Friday and I said, hey, having a good day? Or, what'd you do last night or whatever? And she goes, tried to get into a party, couldn't get in. So me and my friends just hung out. And I was like, you're kidding me, right? And she was like, no, that's really what happened. I was like, exactly plot line of Lower Decks. So you just nailed it. I really thought you were kidding around with that. And I thought that was so funny.
They go like hang out and find a really cool bar with cool memorabilia, like the Doomsday Machine.
And Jennifer Lewis as the bartender.
Right.
Oh,
so fun. But I think I gotta agree, Norman, that you don't put a plus between two names without that sort of heart around it on a tree. So I think that was kind of funny. Loved it. But my favorite thing that kind of got me really wrapped around the show was that last scene. Just everybody in the bar enjoying each other's company, knowing that they're exactly where they should be with the people that they, like it or not, love and appreciate being around. So even though sometimes maybe you want to be at the cool kids table or you aspire to be on the Titan, in the long run, you're better off being where you're supposed to be. In this case, I think they're all supposed to be hanging out at the bar with their friends and being with their people.
It's such like enjoy some shared street meat. Am I right?
Yes.
Hey, there's an 80s. I can't remember if it was an 80s film. It was an 80s film would basically say, we just need more food on sticks. Right.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah,
true.
Because who doesn't love food on sticks? Look at that. We got street corn. That's food on sticks, right? Now we got, we had kebabs that had food on sticks. So I'm just saying.
And I'm gonna out Lou a little bit because he held up I think it was a clipboard with lots of questions on it. Yes, that's it. That's the one right there. So I will. Okay. I'm gonna bow out if that's okay, and let my friend work through his clipboard with you.
All right, man. Well, thanks for calling, Captain Mike, and we'll be seeing you soon.
You got it. Thank you, sir.
Appreciate
Bye,
it, man.
Captain.
Okay. We have another captain, Captain Lou. What's happening, man? I haven't seen you in a while. I haven't heard you in a while either. You might want to get unmuted there, girl. It's not on you. It may be on you. I don't know if it's on you. It might be on Earl.
Take two. The last
there we go.
We're on the West Coast.
This time with feeling.
Yeah. I'll try to speak quickly because I got some notes, some ad libs here. But I did want to clear up some loot trivia, some updates that especially Ashley can relate to.
Okay.
After over a year of filming, we finally wrapped production on the series that I'm in.
Wait, are you pitching something on my show?
That I leave up to people with more savvy than I. I'm just saying.
Well, I'm pretty savvy, so you might want to get to your next question.
Well, you're more savvy than I am, but it's almost like it's mixed emotions. It's bittersweet because I don't know if there's going to be a season 2. If it's picked up, it's going to go to.
So we're talking about Lower Decks, right?
Yeah. Okay. That's what they have me on. I will say a movie that I'm in is on Netflix now.
So do you have a question about Lower Decks or Star Trek Day?
Do I have a question? Holy cow. All right. In no order. Why was there no teaser, or did my network just not have it?
I don't think there was a teaser.
Okay. How does commandeering a light cruiser mean you're drunk?
Ask Mike McMahon.
Okay.
I'm good with lightning rounds, so keep coming.
Is Boimler so self-unaware when he's listing Williams' terrible traits that he doesn't realize he's talking about himself? Like, at all, ever?
Most people should ask that of themselves.
I am not aware of that.
Okay.
How does Captain Freeman, who's supposed to be aware of everything, not hear the elevator doors whoosh when she starts talking about the Doppler?
They just put in new dampening fields on the bridge, so it's very sensitive.
Okay. I missed the first two calls because I was in the holdout room, breakout room, or did I break out of the holdout room? I don't know. Was there an analogy between Dooplers and Tribbles?
No, that's good. Let's go with that.
Because I made one.
Let's hear it. Okay.
Just another funny face.
Okay.
And not only did the Dooplers duplicate and replicate like Tribbles, but the solution, not the solution, but the repopulating when Freeman beams the Doopler to the star.
Oh yeah, it's kind of like what they did.
Very similar to what Scotty did to the Tribbles and the Klingons.
Good call.
That's a good observation. I dig that.
Everything's going to be downhill from here. Somebody explain the Thai iced tea reference. It was a throwaway that I
it's delicious.
And it's very Californian.
Yeah.
Like most of the things in Cerritos. You know, you have street corn and you have, tapas and you have the Cerritos name itself, California class, Thai iced tea. It all goes together.
The Sequoia, that's the shuttle.
Yeah.
Do all cities smell like pee? Because the station that looks as big as a city,
LA does.
Why that's old.
I've lived in a couple in and outside of the Big Apple and Jersey that are not the most fresh smelling in the world. I'll just say that.
And a couple of lines that to me should have gone challenged, like William's terrible traits. I didn't put on underwear for nothing. When I say that, I get challenged every time.
I can understand.
Yeah. I don't know who Captain Exley is. Did I miss that? Captain Shelby I got, but I don't know who Captain Exley is.
I'm not the deepest cut reference person in the world, so I would appreciate a Google on that. That would be fantastic.
In the bar, and this is my guess, when they're drinking in the corner, does that not look like Morn passed out?
I sure hope it is, because they had a Quartz there, and maybe they kicked him out and he went to the other. He went bar hopping on Starbase 25. Yeah,
just the general shape of him.
Yeah.
Who orders a? Is this an actual thing? A prune juice spritz?
Oh, totally, man. That's totally Californian.
For sure. It's a drink?
Totally Californian.
I think that's also a Worf reference because Worf was always drinking.
Juice.
He never would have drank a spritz. His honor.
Well, no, but he's also not Boimler. So I was thinking when Boimler said that, it's like, so this is the way his hair is the way it is, because it's purpley and spritzy at the same time. Very spiky and fresh and light and airy.
Exley, by the way, only appears in this episode.
Oh, you did Google.
I did.
Oh,
it's one of my many marketable skills.
Oh, you get one of these from.
I did it for you.
Thank you. Hear that, Chris and Alan, and not Mike.
And I protest over Mariners insisting that Boimler as her number one has to grow a beard. Kira never had to do it.
Who didn't have to do it?
Just saying. Yeah, you thought
I think it's funny.
Fuck,
wouldn't it be funny though to I don't know, there are so many talented artists out there to put an actual beard on an animated Boimler. That would be hilarious. Maybe Mirror Boimler will have a beard. I think that'd be super cool, right? Just think, Mirror Boimler would have a beard and be slick as
What kind
ice.
of beard, though? Like a Viking beard? Is it braided?
Oh, no. It would totally be
Guys,
it would be slick mafia style.
This is 10 days. I do not understand this beard you're talking about.
I've grown
they
mine
told me
out.
to grow a beard for the role. I said, this is as good as you get. I those disposable razors, they last me 6 months.
Blue's on fire. I'm gonna have to get the hook out for you pretty soon. Because actually, I actually kind of do, because we're coming up on the hour mark, and I wanted to get to a couple things about Star Trek Day.
One last thing. My favorite scene: the nagging avian wife. Let's move to the aviary, he says. It's going to be quiet, he says. Well, I added the accent myself, but did you though?
But did you? It sounded pretty good.
All right, I won't be here next week. I'm working the election. Canadians, please go and vote.
Oh,
hopefully I'll see you in a couple of weeks. But yeah, I've missed you both.
I dig your uniform, man. That looks cool. Is that a sweater?
It was a gift. It was a gift for my trivia show.
Lucky you. That's fantastic.
And I still fit into it. Well, you can't see the bottom half of it, but trust me, I fit into it.
That's okay. We can Photoshop some muscles in there later. So actually, thanks, Lou, for calling. I appreciate you coming in, man. It was good seeing you. All right, you take care.
Bye.
Okay. So I'm going to extend the show maybe for like 5 minutes a little bit, because Ashley, I wanted to ask you one very pointed question.
Yes.
Take a deep breath. Let's talk about your favorite thing. The one favorite thing that you can talk about Star Trek Day that happened last week.
Ooh, I know I talked about Strange New Worlds at the beginning, but it was probably, because I've been thinking about it over the course of the show, I think it's probably the Prodigy stuff.
This is why you and I are.
I know you're my brother from another mother.
It's very. What did Mike call it? Bradward?
Backward.
Backward.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. We're so like that. I can't let you're finishing my sentences.
I want someone out there. I'm tasking the listeners and viewers. I want a piece of art that's Ashley plus Norman, like it's carved into the bar top. Please. My hands can't make hearts because they look too weird.
I'm thinking Prodigy too. I think Prodigy is going to be super good. And I think it's going to be like a really interesting, like, new direction for Star Trek. And I think that's the way that Strange New Worlds, they're both like just really bright, really colorful, really just interesting looking. And hopefully that these are the kind of like the two new directions that fans that need these two shows will be able to really appreciate.
I'm also super biased. I love anything YA or all ages. And so this is just like, it's Avatar: The Last Airbender meets Star Trek. And I'm like, yeah, that's everything that I, as an adult woman, want out of an animated TV show.
Well, the interesting thing about animated shows is that it doesn't, like, it hits on so many levels if it's done the right way. So it hits on a certain maturity level for younger kids who want to, watch it for certain things. But if it's done right, this is why I love like Tom and Jerry and Looney Tunes, because when you're an adult, you get it, right? You really get like what's going on, and sometimes it's like really intelligent, intelligent.
Trek also about once a generation is really good at giving young people an entry point, and I think the 2009 movie, regardless of anyone's opinion on it, was the last time we had that. And I think Prodigy is going to be that for a whole new generation of younger fans, which makes me so excited. Like it would truly love it so much if we started to get like little children calling and being like, I really love Star Trek Prodigy. It's so good. Like, wouldn't that be adorable? Janeway's my favorite.
Right? And it would be like a very kind of like a family bonding show. Now, did you feel the same way I felt about Janeway? And I don't want to say this out of context or out of step, but I think she was the right choice, because I always felt that Janeway was very maternal to her cast, to her crew. And I think that she's going to be even more so with this crew of, they're not Starfleet. They're together, and they need that, I wouldn't say a motherly force, but a very maternal, nurturing, and, and supportive force that sometimes you don't get from a male commander.
Also seen her lead a ragtag group of people who find themselves together. Certainly of the previous era shows, I know we're exploring that a little more in some of the new Trek stuff, but having to work with Maquis, I think she's going to be in a great position to take on this new cast. Also, I'm a little biased because some of my favorite voice talent is also highlighted in this show. Like, give me more Jason Mantzoukas, please.
Right.
So obsessed. Yeah, she's absolutely the right choice. And I think it is an intelligent way to showcase her And obviously Kate Mulgrew is very booked and blessed. And I think that it was probably easier to get her for this than to try, like we didn't get a Janeway TV show, which also if they could greenlight it anytime and I would love to see, but she's doing a million things right now. Like she's enjoying like a sort of another, I feel like, again, like Trek, every 10 years, like Kate Mulgrew, everyone discovers how wonderful she is again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's like people that are doing like Big Finish audiobooks, just because a character can't look a certain way, it doesn't mean that they can't still perform, the voice acting, that's also very much integral to their performance as that character. So yeah, I'm totally on board with Prodigy, and I'm totally on with Strange New Worlds. I did see a couple things that made my kind of eyebrow arch in that very Vulcan kind of way. But I don't really want to get into it like too much for this particular episode. Maybe we can talk about it later on, or you can find me online, either on Mission Log Podcast, or on Lounge Lizard, which is my Twitter handle. You can find me talking about it there. Ashley, where can our listeners find you on the interwebs?
You can find me on the internet, and you can send me cute fan art of Lower Decks at Ashley V. Robinson. The V is very important. Or if you're in Los Angeles, or like can be close to Los Angeles, I'm in a Halloween play next weekend. You can come see it. There's links in all my bios. And I'm not playing witch, but I get to be in one with a witch. So for me, that's very exciting.
Well, congratulations on that. Congratulations on these performances that you're getting. I'm sure that you're having a great deal of fun with that. And if I could hop a plane like a certain member of our crew could, out there can, I would deadhead that in a heartbeat. But I can't, so I'm going to have to, hear about all of your great reviews from someone else in the crowd that can see you in LA.
Yeah.
Not me, sadly. Ashley, as always, it's a pleasure having you here co-hosting the show. It was great seeing you again and catching up. And we'll do this again sometime, pretty much in the other week. Yeah.
We got to let John have his time in the sun, too.
I guess so.
It's only fair.
Well, until next time, thank you everyone for joining us here at Mission Log Live. And Mission Log Live is produced by Roddenberry Entertainment, executive producer Rod Roddenberry. Technical production on Mission Log and Mad Beats provided by the outrageous Earl Green. Be sure to visit podcast.roddenberry.com for the latest from Roddenberry Podcasts. And if you would like to support Mission Log directly, give us a look at patreon.com/missionlog. Thank you to everyone who joined us live, who will join us later. And stay safe and stay healthy. We look forward to talking with you next week.